somewhere in this vast, unknown galaxy lies the planet of Novaria. On this planet, the Luminari reign over the people, and they refuse to relinquish control. Their rise to power began amidst a great nuclear war. Nations all around the world fighting with each other for various reasons, turning the planet into more and more of a desert wasteland. After brutal years of fighting, the nation of Luminaria engineered devices for motors and machines of all kind, which allowed them to run on water. They also learned how to create devices that convert water into electricity as well. With their newly incorporated tech in their arsenal, the nation of Luminari boomed as they became an unstoppable force with limitless power. Pulverizing all other nations on the planet, Luminaria soon became the only nation untouched by the ongoing nuclear carnage. Eventually, the war came to an end with the nation of Luminaria emerging as the sole surviving victor. The victory came at a major cost to the ruling class of Luminaria, and they knew they were weak. In attempts to keep their power and their nation pristine, as well as the lower class subdued, they tried to prohibit and confiscate all water tech from the people. They knew the technology was too powerful to allow the general public to use, fearing full-scale use would bring about another war between the two classes and destroying the nation. So, the ruling class outlawed its use by the lower class and made it punishable by death. Ironically, this act would become the catalyst that sparked the exact war they were trying to avoid between the two classes. The people of Luminaria refused to surrender the technology and used it to rebel and fight for their freedom. After several more months of bloodshed, the Luminari could not prevent water tech from falling into the hands of the civilians. In fact, the longer the civil war raged on, the more time the people had to advance the tech through black market research and spies leaking research from the Luminari themselves. They continued to study and enhance the technology for their own benefit. The Luminari, unable to prevent the use of water tech, recognizing the weakened state of the people as well as themselves, were forced to implement a new strategy to win the war. They knew neither side could hold out much longer, and their nation would no longer stand at the rate things were going. The Luminaries' decision was to erect highly advanced 50-foot-tall walls, the likes of which seemed foreign and alien even to the highly advanced citizens of the nation. It was the Luminaries' most protected and advanced systems of tech that they had, and their final hope to win the Civil War. They constructed the walls faster than anyone could have imagined, and in one full week's time had walls around all oceans, lakes, and any other significant enough bodies of water, essentially preventing the civilians from having access to power their machines for the war effort. They also implemented water rations and electricity limits on the surviving population, providing only enough for their survival. This tactic of preventing their power supply proved far more effective than they could have anticipated, because it vastly decreased the population's attack power, reducing them to no more of a threat than the old stories of Wild West outlaws and gangs. This was the final crushing blow to the people of Luminaria and tipped the scales of the war in favor of the Luminaries' ruling class. Beaten down and broken, the people of Luminaria were forced to become slaves for the higher class. The Luminaria would give the slaves varying degrees of status and privileges depending on how productive they would become, incentivizing harder work among them